This bike, when released, sent the internet into a frenzy. But now in 2025, it's been revamped with a new look and a lower price point. This is the all-new Ibis Oso. Before I get started, I wanted to congratulate Jaime from Arizona for winning the Santa Cruz Bronson. I just got it packaged up and sent off, and thank you to everyone who entered. It was a huge support for the channel. Something big happened recently. I made a new friend. The N+1 bike shop in Kentucky reached out and we hit it off right away. They're the #1 seller of Ibis in all of the US, and Sean, the owner, called me and said, "Hey, you wanna try a new bike? It's an Ibis." I said, "Heck yeah, I've never ridden an Ibis before." And then he goes, "It'll be to launch the new Ibis Oso releasing this week." I was honored. I've never been asked to help launch a bike before, and I think that's a pretty big moment for me and the channel. Remember, I'm just an ordinary guy with no history of mountain biking before 2020. I'm not a pro or anything like that, but thanks to you guys watching and commenting on all my videos, my channel blew up and now brands are noticing. So I was sent this new Ibis Oso 2 weeks before release to ride it, gather my thoughts, and make a first impressions or review video. And real quick, this isn't a sponsored video. I wasn't paid to do this, and I have to send this bike back after I'm done with it. Because of that, I told Sean and Ibis that I'm gonna be completely honest with this review. I'm not gonna hold back anything. I spent too much time building the trust of you guys, and the last thing I wanna be called is an industry shill. You could argue that my judgment is clouded because I wanna gain favor from Ibis, which is true in a way, but I care more about your trust and I don't wanna betray that. Actually, I've never been paid a dime by any bike brand, and I kinda like it that way. But I thought it would be fun to check out this bike and bring you guys along the way, and really, who would say no to riding a nice new e-bike? So let's check this thing out before hitting the trail. When this bike was first introduced in February 2023, this full carbon e-bike retailed for a whopping $11,000. And it came just a few months after the Ibis rebrand of 2022, and the Pink Bike comment section lost their mind. One comment read, "Oh so ugly, and I'm an Ibis guy." Another said, "George Jetson called and wants his rear triangle back." Obviously, Ibis heard the feedback, and maybe it affected sales because 6 months later, Ibis announced a drop in the price and a change in the specs, and the drivetrain updated to a wireless GX transmission, and the price reduced by $3,000. And that's where the Ibis has been for the last 18 months, available in forest green or storm blue for $8,000 until today. Now, the revamped Ibis Oso is now retailing for $6 grand. The small and mediums come in mullet, and the large and extra large come as 29ers. This has a Bosch CX motor and a full power 750 watt-hour battery. It has 170 millimeters in the front and 155 in the rear, but Ibis says you can change the shock to get 170 in the rear and 190 in the front, and you can even run dual crown forks. Now it comes in 2 new colors, bronze, what I have here, and gloss black. And I'll be honest, I thought the last generation colors were pretty ugly, but I found out as I rode this bike for 2 weeks that these new colors are a much better reflection of how this bike is, but more on that later. On the old one, people complained about the cockpit being really messy. Well, now it has a wireless controller for the motor, and then you have the access pod on the other side for the transmission, which is a great drivetrain for an e-bike because it's designed to shift under load, something that seems to happen all the time on e-bikes. People also complained that the rear end was super flexy with that swing arm. So I took off the wheel and checked for myself. This is pressing as hard as I can. Not much flex. And seems fine. And after riding a bit, I never felt the rear end flex, and the Ibis site says that they did stiffen up the frame. I feel like some people are gonna insist that this is an ad for Ibis. I promise it's not. There's laws that say you have to disclose if it's an ad, so I feel like I should say something negative about it now. It did come with Shimano XT 4-piston brakes and massive 220mm rotors. The feel of the levers are nice, and they pull in smooth and light. But if you've watched me for a while, I've had a lot of issues with these levers. And this set is no different. The drive side lever is bent up, and the lever blade still has a major weak point. I tried to bend it back a little, but I've snapped so many of these levers before, I'm just gonna leave it alone. But that is an anomaly. I got this shipped directly from Ibis, but if you buy it from N+1 Bikes, they triple check the bike with multiple different mechanics before sending it out. Plus, their customer service is top notch. My favorite part of this bike that a lot of people may not like is the rear swing arm. This dang near looks like a dirt bike. Then the shock is integrated pretty awesome, and I just had to let the air out of the shock and compress the suspension because it kind of looks like a single pivot, but it's actually a very complex DW link with some super crazy engineering. Last up are the wheels and tires, which are usually an afterthought for an e-bike priced around 6,000 bucks. But this bike comes with alloy Blackbird rims with 35 millimeters internal width. Then the tires are Maxxis DH casing front and rear, which are super thick and expensive tires. And check this out, my rear tire says prototype. I'm not really sure why. So before my first ride, I was a little concerned on how this bike would ride. One Pink Bike commenter talking about the rear shock said, traction tune equals boomer tune. These bikes aren't made to ride fast or hard. And setting up the suspension, I had rebound turned all the way fast and it was still very slow, but with my limited time with this bike, I decided to ride it as is for the first ride, starting with some single track in Bella Vista, Arkansas. Before we get into that, I'd like to thank this video's sponsor, Bear Mattress. Now, I have a foam mattress that's worn out, it's sunk in, and my neck and back hurts after waking up. So I wanted to try a new mattress without going into a mattress store. Well, Bear Mattress is a premium mattress designed to upgrade your sleep, improve your quality of life, and it's conveniently shipped to your door for free within the US. I was a little unsure on what mattress to choose, so I took Bear's sleep quiz, which will match you with the right fit based on your body type and sleep preferences. I ended up choosing an Elite Hybrid in a medium comfort level because I'm a side sleeper. Plus my wife is pregnant and sleeps hot. This mattress has cooling zones. Unlike other brands, Bear mattresses don't contain fiberglass, which can be detrimental to your health. Plus, they're made without the use of harmful chemicals like formaldehyde, mercury, lead, and heavy metals. I was most excited about the center support that provides support for different areas of your body. Whenever I have a sore back from going to the gym or riding, I always look forward to going to sleep to heal that, and this mattress did not disappoint. Super comfy. I've had it for a few weeks now, and I wake up feeling totally refreshed. If you don't like your Bear mattress, there's a 120-night sleep trial to decide if you love it. But we love our Bear mattress, and I think you would too. And if you're looking to upgrade your sleep, head to bearmattress.com and use this code to get 40% off your Bear mattress plus 2 free pillows during the President's Day sale. This is a bigger discount than what's being offered on the site, so check them out while you can. And thanks again to Bear Mattress for sponsoring this video. Since I had limited time to ride it for my first day, of course I put the bike in boost or turbo mode. I've ridden Bosch motors in the past and I wasn't a fan of their sound. The whining, sometimes ratcheting sound was loud enough to be annoying, but this newer generation motor was decently quiet, about the same as the Shimano motors that I've used before. The power of the motor was about what you'd expect, nothing too crazy. If I was going to keep this bike, I'd probably go in the Bosch app and turn up the turbo mode. I always love doing technical climbs on an e-bike, makes me feel like I'm a pro trials rider. This motor's modulation made technical climbs a breeze. The power delivery comes on and off really smoothly, and you can modulate it well with your pedals. And I think I only got one pedal strike the whole ride, which is saying a lot because I feel like I pedal strike e-bikes all the time. At first, I wasn't sure if I could trust those super thick downhill tires. When climbing uphill with chunk and roots, the tire flexed less than I'm used to with enduro or trail tires. The stiff tire also didn't absorb the bumps and didn't hug the rocks like I'm used to, but the more I rode, the more I realized I was wrong. I could trust these tires like no other. Yeah, they're stiff, yeah, their wider rims might make for a stiffer wheel too, but some people need that durability and ride way harder than I do. A quick note on the brakes. After about 6 hours of riding these Shimano XT 4-piston with gigantic 220mm rotors front and back, they're either not bedded in yet or they're not that strong. I could be wrong, but I think the brake pads are resin. They definitely feel like resin pads, and I just expected a little bit more from such big rotors. As I was getting more exposure to downhill single track, I started to notice something. I am 5'9", the worst height when it comes to picking sizes. I'm in between medium and large. Years ago, I found out that a 460mm reach is perfect for me. Even though Ibis's site says the medium is for 5'3" to 5'8", I went with a medium and man, it fits me perfectly. I could really feel this when riding the bike. It gave me a really great front bias. I was right over the bars, dancing around through the single track, and that's saying a lot because I have a bad habit of riding in a rear bias, which is not how new bikes are designed to ride. Well, this bike, with a combination of one of my favorite forks, the Fox 38 Performance, the Blackbird bars, stem length, even the sticky lizard skin grips, it just felt perfect. The steering was direct. I could point the bike and it would do everything that I wanted to.
Not bad.
So with my first ride done, my concerns turned to optimism. Every doubt that I had was turned into a positive, and the front end just felt so direct, but there was still an issue. The rear shock was just too slow for me, and I was getting calf pumped during most downhill sections. And I just thought back about someone saying that the rear shock had a traction tune. Maybe that was it. So I called up Sean at N+1 Bikes, and he's like, oh, easy, try a volume spacer, and got one sent over to me. I was a little perplexed on how to remove the shock because some of the parts of the frame get in the way. Sure, I could have looked up instructions, but I wanted to figure it out because it looks like I can get the air can off without fully removing the shock. So I removed one side, opened the air can, and added a spacer. I'm not sure if this is how it's done, but I did it and it worked. Then I followed the Ibis setup guide. I saw that they recommended 20 PSI more than I had it, with a bunch of other different settings, including the volume spacer I just added. And the shock did rebound much faster, and with that, this bike was wrapped up and ready for my trip to Texas. I think I made it. Let's go.
Section.
I was pretty eager to test out the rear shock with the volume spacer, and I got to at Station Mountain Bike Park. This place has really great natural, chunky terrain. The jumps here were okay, nothing to write home about, but the natural rocks had harsh, square edges, and it was a perfect place to test the Oso. You can see that with each bump, I am getting feedback into my hands, and I think that's just my issue with suspension setup, and it's mainly the fork. I probably need to add an air token, but my issue with calf pump was gone, and the rear end felt great and very active, very planted.
Yeah. Ho ho.
I even built up some confidence to do some chunky rock rolls, something that I have a mental block with.
Probably looking like a squid, but I'm surviving. Ooh, yes, dude. That was so sick. Woo.
With the chunk completed and the bike feeling so good, I wanted to test the Oso in one final area, an area that I don't think e-bikes are great at. So I don't think e-bikes are good at jumping. On the jump lines, they're sluggish, hard to maintain speed, and just exhausting to try to manhandle the bike to get through the jump line. But I heard that Reveille Peak Ranch had some crazy jump lines and even some dirt jumps. So I figured I'd give e-bikes one last chance to see if they can be fun at riding jumps. And of course, just like in every video, it looks way smaller in video. And in person, man, these are kind of big, man. Now I'm a little bit nervous. I don't even know if I can hit these, but let's try anyway. I started off on this easier jump line, all tabletops and built super wide. It's worth mentioning that you can hear some pops in the background at this riding spot. There must have been a gun range next door because there was some of the loudest gunfire I'd ever heard in my life. I guess welcome to Texas, right?
Whoa, that one's a little kicky. Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm eyeing up this big jump line now. I'm gonna do a couple practice runs. I don't know if I'm gonna hit it. Not really feeling too crazy today.
Yeah, so we'll see what's up. It's a little windy. I'm not one to make excuses. I'm okay with being a chickening out. So give that a go. Let's see here. Oh, got a little crossed up. Wasn't used to that shark fin. It's not too bad.
Then I met up with super fans Grant and Luke out here. They're the ones that told me about these epic jumps at this Reveille Peak Ranch. I'll be doing a longer video about this trip, so stay tuned for that. But we began running laps and systematically picking apart this line.
Yeah. Going a little slow on that one. All right, let's let it ride. Oh, big case. Oh, he's going all the way. No way, dude. Oh, he went all the way too. What? That's crazy.
So I moved on to another trail here called El Patron, and I didn't think I was gonna hit any of these, but that other line just gave me the confidence. And I don't know, I don't know what's getting into me right now. I'm just like feeling it, dude. And like, this place is a really good place for progression. So let's see how far I can get.
All right, let me show you how far I can make it on this one. So fun. Oh, went a little deep. Gotta recover. Yeah, actually going deep is easier. And that's where I pull off. Nice, dude.
After riding that for 2 hours, so many people said that they couldn't believe I was doing those jumps on a 54-pound e-bike, and me either. I completely forgot I was riding an e-bike while getting through these jumps. And I'm not exactly sure why even to this day, but I feel like the suspension was really active and had a great support up the lips. I could get good pop to get up over the jumps and maintain speed through the jumps, and that's saying a lot with these downhill tires front and rear. I'm gonna come clean. I bought a different e-bike and it's a Santa Cruz Vala. I've had it for almost a month now, and I gotta say, I like this Ibis Oso better. First, the Oso has way better parts. $6 grand gets you a carbon, full power e-bike with good suspension and a transmission drivetrain. The Vala is $72.99 with base model suspension and an NX drivetrain. The Vala does have the newest Bosch motor, but I couldn't tell the difference. Plus, in typical Santa Cruz fashion, the bike feels really stiff, and I have a lot of adjustments I need to do to get that bike to ride well. Overall, I really like this bike, and that's my honest opinion. You guys know me well, I can easily find things I don't like about a bike. I'm really glad they changed the colors to black and bronze because now it represents the vibe of the bike, which is a badass machine. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and with how this bike rides, how fun it is, I think this bike looks super cool, and I wish that Ibis would let me keep it so I could upgrade it and personalize it. Normally at the end of the video, the implication is like, all right, the bike is great, now go buy it. But I'm not gonna say that. Obviously spending $6,000 is a big decision, so I'll leave it up to you. But if you do decide to buy this new Ibis Oso, buy it from N+1 Bikes, either in person or online. I'll leave a link in the description. Also, you can have them set up the suspension just like I had it, like Ibis recommends, and they'll do that for you, no problem. Shoot, you can even call or text them, email them, whatever. They'll take care of you and let them know I sent you. They'll hook you up. But let me know if you like this kind of one-off review video. Shauna N+1 Bikes has been an awesome friend of the channel and really believes in the power of YouTube. So now I kind of have access to all sorts of bikes to try out through him, and I've already turned down a few already. But my mission this year is to broaden my perspective and try a whole bunch of different bikes. And by you watching this far in the video, you're helping me fulfill that dream. So thank you. But all right, I'll see you next week.